Tulsi Gabbard, a Democratic congresswoman, was willing to vote present during the House impeachment vote. She didn't vote yes, she didn't vote no, she decided to vote present and is now offering a censure resolution against Donald Trump instead. Now, recently on the Hills Rising, she gave her reasoning behind her vote. Take a look.
Throughout my life, whether it was through serving in the military and in the different decisions that I've made in Congress, I always think about what's in the best interest of the country. People will agree sometimes with those decisions, may disagree with those decisions, but my motivation is always coming from a deep love of country. And that's where, after doing my due diligence and going through the exhaustive report that was put out at the conclusion of the inquiry, I came to that conclusion that I could not, in good conscience, vote either yes or no. You know, a no vote was unacceptable to me because Donald Trump is absolutely guilty of wrongdoing. A yes vote was unacceptable to me because impeachment should never come about as a culmination of a highly partisan process.
So look, I would have liked a follow-up question on what Tulsi Gabbard felt Donald Trump did wrong, right? So what is it that he did wrong? And if she clearly mentions or clearly answers and says, well, he coerced a foreign government to meddle in US elections, then the follow-up question to that is, okay, well, if that's not an impeachable offense in your mind, then what is? If violating our democratic process is not impeachable in your mind, then what is?
Another question, which is, what part of the process was highly partisan? Oh, what? The Republicans didn't vote for it? The Republicans wouldn't vote for anything that the Democrats proposed. Literally nothing, 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 nothing. So if you're waiting for the Republicans to agree, then you have to agree with the Republicans 100%, otherwise they won't agree. So, I mean, you're not that naive about politics, right? So then what do you think was partisan about it? There wasn't anything partisan about it. Look, is there anyone on the air in the country that calls out the Democrats more than I do? I wouldn't play second fiddle to anyone on that. In terms of Democratic leadership and their incompetence and their poor strategy and their corruption, I've said it a million times, right? But here, I think they could have been tougher on Donald Trump. I've talked about that a lot. But could they have appeased Republicans more and made this less quote unquote partisan? No, not 1%.
Well,
if in fact, they were too soft, they were too giving to the Republicans, too concerned about their issues. So for Tulsi Gabbard to say that the Democrats are too partisan on this, look, putting aside motivation for a second, it's an absurd claim to make. It is an absolutely outrageously false claim to make.
So it's interesting because you mentioned those things as if Tulsi Gabbard would agree with you, but we actually had a very different philosophical stance when it came to this impeachment investigation. Tulsi Gabbard actually wanted the scope of this investigation to be limited, whereas you're right. I mean, you said it as recently as yesterday. They should not have limited the scope of the investigation. In fact, there should have been more emphasis placed on possible financial crimes, campaign finance crimes. Those issues were not considered during this impeachment investigation. The articles of impeachment were vague, especially the abuse of power article. And so, yeah, Democrats actually went soft on Trump and proceeded from a place of fear. And that's what they usually do. That's where our criticism comes from. But this weird thing about how, I poured over all of this extensive research and the investigation and I found, there was wrongdoing, which is why I couldn't vote no, but I couldn't vote yes because there wasn't enough there to impeach him? That makes no sense.
Sorry, I don't believe that for 1 second. It doesn't make any sense. So here's what makes sense. I haven't yet decided whether I'm staying in the Democratic Party or going over to the Republican Party. So that's why I don't want to vote yes and I don't want to vote no. I want to preserve my options in case Joe Biden picks me to be his VP or in his cabinet. I want to preserve that option. But if he doesn't and Trump wins, I want to preserve the option of being in his cabinet. And I'm getting ready to make that switch right now. And so that's a political reality. And so but saying that the Democrats are too partisan on this is not supported by any fact at all. It's so you could read whatever intention you want into her decision, but you cannot read logic into it. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.